The Las Vegas Raiders are moving through the combine like a team that already knows who it wants, and the scary part is how calm they look while the whole league watches. Max Crosby is still sitting in the middle of trade noise that will not die. Gino Smith is getting linked to teams that need a veteran right now. And hanging over everything is Fernando Mendoza, the name fans keep treating like it is already written in ink. Even the Tom Brady factor is sitting there, quiet, heavy, waiting to matter. This week is not just workouts and handshakes, it is leverage. The Raiders can flip their timeline in one phone call, keep things steady with one decision, or speed up the rebuild with one bold move. That is why the talk feels so loud, because every rumor is really about one thing: control. If Gino Smith moves, it tells you the future is coming fast. If Max Crosby stays, it tells you the Raiders believe they can build without tearing the heart out of the team. Either way, the pressure is real, because the wrong choice here does not just waste a season, it wastes the moment. But the clearest clue is not coming from a report. It is coming from Fernando Mendoza himself. While everyone else is guessing, he actually sat with the Raiders, face to face. Football on the board, plays on the screen, details under the light. That is the part nobody can spin, because a real meeting changes how a front office thinks, and it changes how a player walks out of the room. And when you hear what Fernando Mendoza said right after that sit down, it starts to feel like the Raiders are not shopping for options. They are locking in a future. But before we get into that, hit that like and subscribe button for more Raiders and all the NFL content. Let's aim for 200 likes on this video. Fernando Mendoza did not sound like a guy trying to win the day with hype. He sounded like a guy who already knows the weight of what is coming, and that is what hits different. He kept it calm, he kept it sharp, he kept it real. And the more he talked, the more it felt like this is not just a draft story. This is a leadership test happening in public. Some players chase attention. Fernando Mendoza handled it like he was protecting something bigger. Then he brought up the detail that flips the whole vibe. He already had a quick moment with Tom Brady. Not a photo op, not a big show, just a real point in time that clearly meant something to him. He talked like a student who actually wants to be coached, like he is ready to work from day one and not pretend he has it all figured out. And when he described the way the staff teaches the position, the reads, the steps, the structure, it was obvious he was focused on the boring parts that make quarterbacks great. That is not loud confidence, that is serious confidence. But here is the twist. The best proof was not even the football talk. It was how he handled the weird stuff. He told that story about a team joking that he should get arrested so he could slide, and he did not turn it into drama. He brushed it off like a grown man and kept moving. He also explained why he loves football, the strategy, the teamwork, the fact that there is no one mold you have to fit to win. That is a quarterback talking about building trust, not chasing headlines. And now the real question is not what he said, it is who the Raiders are putting around him. Because the staff they build next might tell you how fast they plan to turn all of this into reality. The Las Vegas Raiders are not just collecting names, they are building a machine. And this is the part that quietly decides if the whole plan lives or dies. Fans love draft talk, but the real power is in the room where the staff teaches the system, because that is where a young quarterback either grows fast or gets stuck. Clint Kubiak stepping in is a loud signal on its own. But the moves under him are the real message. This team is choosing structure over chaos, and that tells you they are serious about what comes next. Here's what nobody is treating like breaking news, even though it matters more than half the rumors you see online. Andrew Giannacco is not a flashy hire. He is a builder, a teacher, the type of coach who can keep an offense steady when pressure hits. Then you add Nick Holtz as the pass game coordinator, and that is not a random move either. That is a choice to stack the room with people who can shape the passing game every day, not just call plays on Sunday. The Raiders are telling you they want a plan that survives bad weeks, noise, and growing pains, because the staff is designed to hold the line. And now the next clue is coming. Not from a press mic, but from the kind of players this staff wants around the offense. A coach can say they want speed. They can say they want smart football. But the real truth shows up in who they sit down with at the combine, who they talk to, who they bring in, who they keep circling back to. That is the blueprint written in real time. So let us get into the meeting tracker, because the names on that list are going to tell you exactly what the Raiders are trying to build. The Raiders are not talking to these prospects by accident. This list is a confession. When you see Casey Conception and Zachariah Branch pop up, it screams one thing. They want speed that shows up right now, not someday. Not just track speed, football speed, the kind that turns a 5-yard throw into a problem. It also tells you the offense is going to be built to help the quarterback breathe, easy throws, fast decisions, and playmakers who can turn simple into loud. Then you get to the piece that changes how defenses line up, the hybrid role. Riley Nowakowski and Max Bredesen are the kind of names that do not trend on social media, but they can break a defense without touching the ball. If one guy can line up like a tight end, shift like a fullback, and still catch, the defense has to pick a poison before the snap. And that is where the Raiders can start stealing first downs, not with flash, with confusion, with stress, with the defense arguing while the play is already moving. Now look at the other side of the tracker, because the Raiders are clearly hunting balance, not just points. Lee Hunter hints at a heavier front that can hold ground and let everyone else fly around. D'Angelo Pons and Brandon Siss hint at corners who can compete in space, and Genesis Smith hints at range on the back end, even if the role has to be taught the right way. That is the real tell. This team is building a roster that can change its shape. And once you hear what kind of defense they want to live in, these names start making even more sense. The Raiders are not tweaking a few calls on defense. They are changing the spine of how they want to fight. When a team commits to a 3-4 base, it is a different world. Different body types, different pressure points, different rules for who must win their matchup. Rob Leonard is stepping into a job where every snap will answer one brutal question. Can this defense hit first, or does it keep reacting and hoping? That is why this switch matters, because it is not about looking new. It is about being harder to solve. The part nobody wants to say out loud is that this kind of change has a price. You need one big presence inside who can take the chaos, eat space, and let the rest of the defense move fast without fear. You need linebackers who do not freeze when motion starts. You need coverage players who can sit in a zone, read eyes, and still drive on the ball like they are angry. And you need that one trait that flips games in silence, taking the ball away. Not once in a while, not when the offense is perfect, but when everything feels messy and you need a rescue. Now here's where it gets tense, because building that defense depends on what the Raiders do next at quarterback. If the team clears the deck and frees up money, they can attack needs with real force. If they keep the veteran in the room, it changes the pacing, the draft board, even the type of free agents who pick up the phone. And that brings us to the rumor that will not go away, because one move with the veteran quarterback could quietly swing the entire offseason. The Raiders have a decision sitting right in front of them, and it is louder than it looks. Gino Smith is starting to show up in real talk around the league, not as a headline grab, as a solution. The kind of solution teams call about when they are nervous, when the plan is not clean, when they want a steady hand without waiting for the draft to save them. And if that call turns into a deal, it changes what the Raiders can do next. Fast. Arizona is the name that keeps floating up, because if they are even thinking about moving on from Kyler Murray, the whole room changes. You do not replace that kind of talent with a guess, you replace it with a bridge you can trust. That is why you hear Tyson Bagent and Malik Willis get mentioned in the same breath. It tells you teams are scanning for answers, not stars. For the Raiders, the math is simple. If they can move Geno Smith and clear that $26 million, they get flexibility that can turn a slow rebuild into an aggressive one. Even if it is not a big pick coming back, the space matters, because space buys options. Now take a breath and look at what that would signal. If Geno Smith is gone, the Raiders are not keeping safety nets, They are committing to the future and accepting the heat that comes with it. And once that happens, the league stops asking what the Raiders are doing at quarterback and starts asking one sharper question: what are they doing with Max Crosby? Because you cannot change the whole direction of a team without deciding what happens to the player everyone fears, and that is where the real pressure starts. The Las Vegas Raiders are walking into the loudest kind of silence because Max Crosby has not given the one sentence that ends the debate. And that silence is not empty, it is power. Every team that calls is really testing one thing: can the Raiders be pushed, or will they hold the line no matter what? The shocking part is how fast the story grows when the main person stays quiet. Because now, every pause becomes a headline, and every day feels like it could be the day something breaks. Here's the tension. This is not just about picks. It is about identity. Max Crosby is the kind of player who sets the tone before the ball is even snapped. And a defense that wants to hit first needs a heartbeat like that. If the Raiders keep him, it tells the locker room the standard is staying right here. And the rebuild is not a reset. It is a reload. If a trade ever happens, it would have to be so massive that it changes the entire plan, not just the next season. That is why teams keep trying, because getting a player like Max Crosby is not a normal move. It is a shortcut to fear. But what nobody talks about enough is what this does to everyone watching from the outside. Free agents look at how a team treats its leaders. Draft picks feel the culture before they ever put on the jersey. Even the next quarterback feels it, because a young passer plays different when he knows the defense can win moments for him. That is why this story sits at the center of everything. It is not just a rumor, it is a signal. And the next piece that makes this even more interesting is already out there, because the league just got a rare look at how players grade the Raiders behind closed doors. And that report might explain why this team feels so confident right now. The Las Vegas Raiders just got exposed. In a way teams hate, the players' report card got out, and now everyone can see what the locker room really thinks. Not the press conference talk, not the social media noise, the real daily life inside the building. That kind of leak can pull free agents closer or push them away, because it answers the question players actually care about. Is this a place that takes care of you, or a place that drains you? What makes it hit harder is the split. The Raiders scored strong in the areas that keep a team steady: the facilities, the training support, the food, the weight room, the field, and how families are treated. Then you look at the coaching grades, and it turns sharp fast. Chip Kelly got crushed for the offense, and the staff roles like Tom McMahon and even the head coach grade for Pete Carroll show why the reset came. Patrick Graham sitting in the middle tells you the defense was not a disaster, it just was not good enough to cover for the offense. It reads like a team that had a solid foundation, but the wrong voices were holding the football side back. Now the pressure is clean and simple. Mark Davis and John Spytek cannot hide behind vibes anymore because the report card made the pitch public. Good building, but prove the product. If the new staff turns that strong foundation into real Sundays, players will line up to be part of it. If not, the grades will just be a nice story with no ending. So drop your take. Which grade matters most to you? And what is the one move you think will prove the Raiders are finally building this the right way?